Hi.
Hi, Karen. Thank you so much for letting us interview you.
Oh, this is exciting.
Okay, so what inspired you to learn American Sign Language?
I grew up in Rochester, New York, and there's a lot of deaf people who live there because there's a big school, a university called the National Technical Institute for the Deaf. So I'd always kind of known about deaf people. But believe it or not, I became an interpreter, which is when I started learning sign language, just because I failed a class in college and I was a nursing major. And I was studying a really, really hard class called microbiology, and I didn't want to have to take it over again. So I decided to go to another major where I could not have to take microbiology. And that one of those choices was interpreting. And I decided to learn sign language. So it was something that I just did without a lot of thinking. But when I look back, it was a great decision because I love being an interpreter. It's so much fun and it's so interesting.
How many books have you written?
I have written one whole book before this one, but it never sold. It's called The Haley Show, and it was based on my daughter, Haley, and I wrote it, and I tried to sell the book, and I got an agent. You need an agent usually to help you sell a book to like Disney, who bought my book, and it didn't sell. So I have that book, and then this is the first book. Charlie and Frog is the very first book that I actually wrote and sold.
Does Charlie and Frog relate to personal experience?
Well, all of the stuff from Frog definitely comes from all the wonderful, cool deaf girls I've met, some really strong deaf girls. And Charlie has a little bit of me in him, that he's always looking, for that feeling of connection and love. And I just felt Charlie. But Frog, I just wrote by looking around at all the neat deaf girls that I've worked with over the years. And I just wrote about her because she was really fun to write. So her character just sort of came to me and I just wrote her.
What gave you the idea to write Charlie and Frog?
Well, when I was in school, I went to get a master's degree in writing for children and young adults. And I went to Vermont College of Fine Arts for that. And when I was there, I just started writing because I had to have a certain amount of paper, a certain amount of writing turned in to my teacher every month. And I just started to write, and this character came to me, and then I kept feeling my way forward in writing it, and slowly the pages added up, and then all of a sudden I had this story. And then it took a lot of editing, a lot of rewriting, lots and lots of rewriting, but that's where it started while I was at school.
My next question is, what advice do you have for kids who want to become authors?
Well, I'm curious about you two. Are either one of you interested in becoming an author?
I'm interested. I have so many ideas.
Well, you know what's so cool is that you're interested in at your age. I never even thought about being a writer at your age. I think that's so cool. I think the biggest thing is believing that you can and having something called a mastery-oriented mindset, which is something I researched about when I was in school because I didn't have that. I just thought, either people were good at something or they weren't good at something. And if I wasn't good, well, okay, I'm just not good. But this researcher, Carol Dweck is her name, D-W-E-C-K, she found out that kids given a puzzle, some kids would look at the puzzle and not be able to do it, and other kids would look at the puzzle and not be able to do it. But one group of kids would look at that puzzle and say, I don't care, I'm going to keep figuring it out. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to keep working on it until I can do it. And they kept going, and they had a mastery-oriented mindset. And then another group of kids would try to do the puzzle, and then after a while they'd just go, you know what, I'm just not that smart. I'm just not that good at it. And those kids had this fixed mindset of, I'm just not good. So she found the kids who had a mastery-oriented mindset who decided to do something, that really changed it. And when I learned about that research, that shifted for me. And I realized that I can figure out writing. I can be a good writer. So to me, if you're a young kid and you really want to write, that's the biggest thing, is saying, I can do it, and I'm going to keep figuring it out until I do it.
Do you have another book coming out? If so, when is it going to come out?
I do. I'm still writing it right now. It's the next book in Charlie and Frog, and it's called The Bony Hand, and it comes out next April. So it should be a year from this April that the second Charlie and Frog book will come out. But I have to get writing on it. I mean, I'm writing it, but I got to keep writing it so it'll be done and be ready.
Okay, my next question is, how long does it take for you to write books?
Well, this book I started in school, and I wrote it in about, I would say, 6 to 7 months, and then I edited a little more, and then I sold it to Disney, right? But once you sell a book to an editor, you're not done. You have about, I had another maybe 8, 9 months of editing. So I would say at least a year and a half, maybe even 2 years total of me slowly working on it. But because the rewriting takes so much time to do it. So some people write faster, some people write slower, but that's how long it took me to write this book. But the Bony Hand, I'm going to be writing, I have to write it in a faster period of time. So we'll see how that goes.
The book teaches a few signs. Can you teach us some additional signs that aren't in the book?
So you make a C hand shape like this, and you put it on your right bottom of your throat, and then bring it down your chest, like hungry, hungry. That's a great one.
How about I love you?
Well, that is in Charlie and Frog, but I call it something different. So I do this, which means in Charlie and Frog, his mom, it means I'm here if you need me, which is one interpretation of this. But if you want the regular sign for I love you, you would take your index finger and point to your chest for I, and then make fists and cross them, love. And then you is just point to the person you're telling that to. That's you in sign language. So I love you. And you can also just do this. So this is the letter I, and the letter L for love, and the letter Y for you. So that's where that sign comes from. But it can mean take care, have a great day, or it can mean like Charlie and Frog, where Mrs. Castle says to Charlie, I'm here if you need me. So there's a lot of meanings for this sign, but this means I love you.
I
Love you, yeah. And that's really clear. That means I love you, because this can mean lots of different things. This can mean goodbye. Sometimes deaf people, when they're finishing a conversation, they go like this. It just means, oh, you've been a great friend, or I love talking to you. But this always means I love you. You make like you're sleeping, bed, and then room is you put your one hand like the 2 walls, and then bring the other hands around for the other wall. So bedroom. So bed, and then room. So take your hand and wiggle your fingers, like wait. This is a good mom one. Sometimes you can do it with one hand, like wait, I'm on the phone.
Yes.
So like if your mom's on the phone, you can just do wait. If you can, try to find a deaf person to teach you sign language, or a deaf person teaching a class, because that's really the best way. Or meet a deaf person or a friend. That's even better, because then you have a reason to want to talk to the person. Awesome.
Well, thank you for letting us interview you. I had a lot of fun. I bet so did Gabby. Thank you so much.